Forget what you learned in school. Never mind what your parents told you, and disregard what your friends say. From now on, the only people you need to listen to are these guys. For the next several minutes, they'll take you on a journey through the political jungle. And when your journey is over and you're safe at home, they promise you'll be stronger, smarter, and just plain better. So buckle up, hang on to your ears, because your journey starts now.
Welcome to the political jungle.
Hey, Nate, how you doing?
Not too bad, Brian. How are you?
Here we are, another show, another dollar.
Several.
I don't know. Really, several? Because I haven't seen any.
Ooh.
I think maybe...
Never mind.
Okay.
Never mind.
Really, the check... You said the check-in...
Never mind.
So you... Oh, no. All right.
Yeah, I know.
Well, welcome to At Odds for another enjoyable journey through that political jungle with your guides, Nate and Brian, where we are broadcasting from the back room of the Dog and Pony pub and studio in a small northern village. In what country, Nate?
Morocco.
I love Morocco.
They have great domestic beers here. It's interesting because they're different than the domestics in the States, and that blew my mind for a minute. But
really?
Yeah, I didn't get it. I asked for a Bud Light, and they didn't have it.
That's a foreign. That's an import.
Yeah, that's weird. It's weird. It was $1 more for Bud Light than the classic Moroccan beers.
Yeah, which
that,
really pretty good.
Name a couple. I'm sure you can.
There's the Majesty.
Yeah.
After the Prince.
That's a good one.
And there's the Grace Kelly, which you probably don't get, but some of our viewers will. Speaking of beer and wine.
Yeah, we added a couple new sponsors to the show, actually. One of them being Wine Globe. They have all sorts of exotic, moderate-priced wines, beers, all
liquors,
the way up to high-end.
Do you know that the Indians make a whiskey?
I did not know that.
And I don't know what that's like. I hope they don't use the water from the Ganges, because I heard
you put liquor in there.
Now with
33%
less dysentery with every shot.
Oh boy!
But anyways, they got all kinds of liquors, beers, spirits, wines, everything, all at your fingertips. So check out that site.
The other one I know you were pretty excited about. I'm pretty excited about it too, because I love candy. Is Old Time Candy.
Yeah,
they have all sorts of
nostalgic candy
and
back
toys
to the 20s
and things like that,
and earlier.
And you can buy boxes from specific decades and get all of the 80s candy.
Yeah,
or whatever
variety
it is.
pack.
So,
I think I'm going to get one from the 60s for my daughter, so she can have the candies that I had when I was a kid.
Yeah. So to check out those sponsors, head over to, if you're not already there, www.atoddshow.com. Click on either the Wine Globe banner or the Old Time Candy banner.
You won't be disappointed.
You will not. Either way, those are both great choices. And if you order quickly Old Time Candy, click on our banner. You'll have to click on the banner. If you order Valentine's candy and use Heart13 as a promo code, you can get like 10 or 15% off on Valentine candy only.
You can't beat it.
That's a great deal. So check it out.
I think today we're going to talk about some of the crazy gun laws. We'll talk a little bit about Christopher Dorner. That's hot news right now as we speak. Apparently the cabin he's holed up in is being burnt to the ground. Reminiscence of Waco.
Yeah, I'm seeing it on one of our monitors here in the studio, actually. It's
what are they
on fire. Huge flame shooting out of cabin in California standoff. So they claim they heard ammunition exploding. I
don't know how they
These people don't know anything about guns, so I don't know that they would know what ammunition exploding in a fire would sound like.
And what was really, okay, we'll talk about
We'll get
this
into
in
it
a little bit. We're also Nate's going to make some predictions on the State of the Union. I made a prediction that
you better actually make that one before it happens.
yeah, because
You might
it
wanna
might
do
be
it now.
it might be a little too late now. I predicted that a drone would shoot Christopher Dorner down right before the presidential State of the
State of the Union at 9 o'clock
and,
tonight.
he could say, "See how it works? We protected you from domestic terrorism."
And when
Because
you
everybody's a domestic terrorist now.
When you said that, I
You got a little-
realized that
you got a
that
little
might
creepy feeling.
actually
Yeah, you got-
happen. Yeah,
you got a little tingle.
Hey, we have a pretty big announcement for us, though. We
do?
I might not have told you this yet.
See, it's the same with the checks. I'm not getting my checks. Excuse me, I didn't get my paycheck last week, and I want my stapler back.
Our show is now being broadcast on Red State Talk Radio at redstatetalkradio.com. It's going to be rebroadcast. It's actually going to premiere Wednesday, tomorrow at 11 a.m. will be the first broadcast.
And
so
they're going to play it 3 or 4 times a week. So
yep.
And they are an award-winning internet talk show, conservative talk show.
They are.
Network. So
the
we're really excited about
internet
that.
talk radio.
We'll have more on our website. And for now, though,
America's conservative talk monster. Red State Talk Radio.
there you go.
Yeah, we're going to have fun playing those because I really like them.
Yeah.
They did a great job with those.
We're going to be playing those all the time. No, we
boy.
won't. No, we won't. It'll still be this great talk show that it's always been. The same content.
Same show.
Unfortunately, the same hosts.
And we will still be live Tuesdays at 7:30.
It'll be an
That's
hour
when
show.
you can call in
Yep.
on Tuesdays.
Yep.
And that number is 248-455-6337. That's 248-455-ODDS. Give us a call if you want to join in on the conversation here.
Right? And you can like us on Facebook, too.
Very important. Facebook.com/@OddsShow.
I'm going to start out with a presidential quote, and I'm going to let you guess who said it.
Okay.
All right,
Was
here it
this
is.
the president?
This was the president of the United States.
Ooh, okay.
I like the job I have, but if I had to live my life over again, I would like to have ended up a sports writer.
Okay, and I know who this was now, and now I can't think of the name because I've seen this several times, and the only thing that's coming to my head is Roosevelt. I know that. Wow, now I feel stupid because I actually do know this one.
It's all right. I'm just going to let you wiggle in the wind.
No,
there.
I give up. Who?
Richard Milhouse Nixon.
Nixon.
Nixon was quite the sports fan, and he was an encyclopedia of baseball. He
Also,
loved baseball.
he was not a crook.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't.
And I guess he was quite the poker player when he was in the Navy.
Was he?
Yeah, I guess he was very good at poker. Well, we want to plug the
Because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
See, that's right from his mouth.
That settles that.
Done deal, no questions asked.
All right.
We're going to talk a little bit real quick about what's going on in Michigan. They still need money for their fundraiser for their legal defense with the Capital Area District Library versus the Michigan Open Carry. Check out their website if you can donate to help them with this. This is going before the Michigan Supreme Court, and it's will have a decision if it's heard by them that will affect all gun owners, especially those that carry firearms for personal protection. Could affect all of those people in the state of Michigan. And also in the state of Michigan, the Second Amendment March is doing a rally March 20th. You can check out their website. Just go to secondamendmentmarch.com, org, whatever. You'll find it. They have a donate button there. You can help out or attend the rally.
Yeah, March 20th at the rally, and there's going to be a
the
march.
At the state capitol, we're going to have Jan Morgan, a beautiful Southern belle who is pro-gun, firearm instructor and a conservative. And we also have Doug Giles, a real macho conservative gun guy who has 2 beautiful daughters, by the way. Wrote a book called How to Raise Rowdy Daughters. And we're working with Larry Pratt or his son. We're not sure which. So those are going to be the main headliners.
From Gun Owners of America.
Gun Owners of America, great organization. If you're not a member, you should be. So we're going to have and we're going to have the high-class truckers will be the entertainment, a great Michigan band that's been in demand in the central Michigan area. They played in Detroit, Ann Arbor, Saginaw, Flint, all over the place.
Yep.
Every bad bar in the whole central part of the state.
Everywhere you don't want to be.
Yep.
And some places you do.
And so check that out. We also said we wanted to say that we had a gun rally. They had a national rally at every state capital they were trying to get.
Just this last Friday.
On the 8th, that's right, at 10 a.m. Michigan, we had a blizzard that cleared up a little bit by the rally, but we had a lot of people that braved the weather. It was very cold, very windy, and a lot of snow, but the Patriots were there. We had some speakers get up and defend the Second Amendment, but we heard in Tennessee there was a guy who got arrested for carrying a loaded AR-15. Now, in Michigan, we had lots of loaded AR-15s because
almost everybody had one at this rally.
Our state allows that.
Yeah,
but in Tennessee, apparently, you can't have a loaded rifle.
Yeah.
You can't even have ammunition on your person and carry a long
rifle.
gun.
Yeah, and that's just absurd.
I can't believe
absurd. And he was arrested and charged. I believe it's a misdemeanor in Tennessee to do this. To carry his AR-15. I haven't heard what happened with it. They were probably working on a plea deal because that's how these work.
Usually, but, it's
what we
pretty
needed
cut and dry.
You need a good lawyer and a ton of money and go at this from
and maybe
and a
that's
copy of the Constitution.
And maybe that's why he did that, to make a stand. Maybe he's got an idea in mind.
I would hope, and I urge every other gun owner in any state, I would hope that he had read the law for himself or consulted a lawyer and knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
I hope that's the case, because you will not further our cause by doing these things because you don't know what the law is, or you hear a rumor and you act on it that way. If you don't know what you're doing is perfectly legal, either don't do it or know what the hell you're doing.
Know what your consequences are. That's what
and be
civil
prepared.
Disobedience is.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You have to know what the consequences are and how you're going to react to them.
Yeah.
I am not in any way condoning or encouraging civil disobedience at this point, but if you're going to do it smart.
We also had a quote by Jeff Quinn, who was at the rally, and Jeff apparently has a YouTube channel and has like a little bit of
it's always good when
firearms show. But
when people with an audience say these sort of things and pretend to be pro-gun, but go ahead.
Well, this is his quote, and Nate and I don't agree with it, but his quote was,
"Speak for yourself."
I was speaking for us.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah. The state troopers are doing their job, and while it's legal to carry a gun around, it does upset some people, so it's best to keep it hid, I think.
Yeah, okay, point one. Point one.
It wasn't legal, for one thing.
Yes, the state troopers were doing their job. It was illegal. They're charged with enforcing the law. Fine. And from what I understand, it was civil. It was
there was
peaceful. It was peaceful.
Yeah,
he was.
He wasn't even handcuffed. He was just
whatever. Yep.
He was just walked into there and written up a ticket and all that stuff. So, anyways,
I don't believe it's better to keep your gun concealed.
No, I mean that's what
really ever, and we've talked about this several times. Yep. I mean, you have that option. You should be able to carry it openly too.
We want to bring it out of the closet.
You shouldn't have to worry about people who are uncomfortable about it. I mean,
right.
Freedom isn't perfect, first of all, and we have a constitution, and that is the law of the land in this country. It's not the law of the land if people agree with it and if it doesn't hurt somebody's feelings.
Right, and listen, there's nothing that protects you from being butthurt about something. I mean, somebody could wear a Romney shirt, that offends somebody. Somebody could wear an Obama shirt, that could offend somebody.
And it does.
And so, come on. This person, exercising a Second Amendment right as enumerated in the Constitution, and we got to hide that? Come on, Jeff. You know better than that. That's terrible. All right. Speaking of weather, we weren't. But what?
Well, no, we weren't. But okay. Yeah, you mentioned that we had a blizzard here that day. The blizzard that we had here that day also hit the East Coast.
Much harder than here.
Much harder than here. They have 3-4 feet of snow in places. Almost 40 inches of snow.
And they're not used to that.
It's not the first time we've had a blizzard like that. They're not used to it. Sure.
This was in Massachusetts, by the way.
This is what we're going to talk about here. Deval Patrick, the governor of Massachusetts, he came out with a royal order, signed
a royal decree,
signed an executive order banning
all
driving on all roads,
and thou
primary and secondary.
And if thou shalt be found driving, thou shalt
be a year in jail or a $500 fine.
Yes, you shall have your.
There
head
were
cut
some
off.
notable exceptions for this. Emergency vehicles.
Sure,
that makes sense. Sure, you want the police and whoever to be able to get through fire. Media vehicles.
Yeah,
what?
I'm not sure about that.
So, I don't think these idiots from MSNBC are a better driver than I am.
I bet Patrick's limo driver could drive.
I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it.
I don't know how he got to work. Maybe he was in his pajamas.
He's
got his press room.
He was in his underwear in his basement, and he signed this.
No driving out in the street. Now listen. Let's make it clear. It was dangerous to go out there and drive,
of course.
And if he would have come out and said, "We're really recommending that you don't drive, to let the plows get through, to let emergency vehicles. We don't want to have to rescue people. We want to put people at harm, having to go out and rescue people. Please don't drive unless you absolutely have to." But to criminalize it, to ban it
via executive order,
a
signature makes driving illegal.
I disagree with that.
Completely disagree with it. And the problem is we need to be teaching personal responsibility in this country. We need to put responsibility on individuals. We need to say, hey, Brian, if you go out and drive in this snow and you wreck your car, you are responsible for everything that happens related to you wrecking your car in this snowstorm.
Yeah, and
then you make the decision from there.
And I suppose, I don't know, I suppose you could say, listen, if you go out and drive and you get stuck and you have to have emergency people come and get you, you're going to have to pay for those services. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, why?
Do you agree with that or not?
You do pay for them either with taxes or I've always had to pay for my own tow truck.
No, I don't mean tow truck, but I mean if they had to rescue you or something. Let's say your life's, the whatever. Pay for that. Yeah, I understand paying for your own tow truck.
I mean, I don't think
you do that anyways.
I don't think that emergency services are conditional, are they? The fact is, I have a right to freely travel when I want and where I want and how I want.
But I have to be responsible.
And there are Supreme Court cases that support that fact, that I have the right to freely travel. Now, I think that was mostly...
Is it a state of an emergency? Was there a state of emergency declared?
I don't know.
I don't know what kind of powers they give themselves for that.
But come on, this is the kind of thing. First of all, we need to teach individual responsibility. You are responsible for your actions. You do not have to rely on the government to tell you what you can do and when you can do it and how to be responsible. The reason people don't have common sense, that's exactly why. It's easier to just wait for the government to tell you what to do. But when you let the government do things like ban driving, you take another step, which this actually happened first. Let's say you have a hurricane roll through town, and the governor says, well, nobody's going to have a gun. We're going to go door to door, and we're going to take guns because that's what we need to do. That would
never happen in America.
No, unless Katrina happened and Bush was president, then it might happen in America.
Ooh.
Oh, wait, it did happen. And a lot of those guns haven't been returned yet.
Yeah.
You made the point that, well, if you got charged with a fine or put in jail, you could fight it. It would probably get dismissed. Mm-hmm. Sure. But that doesn't take away from the fact that you were put in jail or fined and you had to go through all this hassle.
You've suffered some
or the
grievance.
The people in Louisiana whose guns were taken away, even if they fight it in court, there's guns still rotting in barrels as far as I know. I doubt they've all been given back.
Probably in some police officers' collections
Well,
somewhere.
I saw pictures of them in barrels, so they're obviously there still. Police officers wouldn't take them home for themselves ever. That wouldn't happen except in all the cases that we know that it has happened. But, I mean, and the problem with this is everyone says, well, what are you going to do? Because people are too stupid to know better, and they need the government to tell them, and we can't just, fix this. And no, we can't just flip a switch and have the problem solved. You have to look at things like family values, the educational system. I mean, it's a huge, huge, huge problem. Huge problem. And we can spend, shows going over how to fix the educational system, how to restore the family unit back. I mean, that's a big issue in this country, I think.
We should get a talk show where we can talk about stuff like that.
I had never thought of that. I think you're right. We should
put it on the to-do list.
I am just seeing up on our monitor, actually, that there is a tactical operation underway at the cabin where Christopher Dorner is up in, what is it, Big Bear, California.
Dorner rhymes with corner.
It does, and you can take the words or the letters in Dorner and write drone.
Yeah.
Then you have the extra R. So you would have droner, and that would be President Obama. He would be the droner.
I wonder who.
I see where you're going with this.
I know. Well, the other thing is that we got on the news channel that we were monitoring is there was a shot fired before the fire, apparently, and they don't know if, the implication was that he might have shot himself before he set it on fire, or tear gas might have.
I'm interested to hear.
I'm just wondering who's going to get the $1 million reward.
Probably one of the cops.
I don't.
All right, we were talking about weather and the snowstorms and things, and obviously, Brian, when you see 100 feet of snow,
I think of global warming.
You think global warming.
I do.
Let's hear what CNN has to say about that. They were the CNN anchor.
They hired the best.
Talking to Bill Nye, the science guy, who, by the way, has a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. Which
you always say engineering is a science.
No, I've never said that.
You said that.
I have never said that.
You said you're a scientist and you're a computer engineer.
No. I said I have more of a science degree than you do, being a geologist.
I disagree with that.
Engineering is more of a science than geology.
See, and that's what you said.
I said. Yeah, I think that's true, but that doesn't make it a science. That just makes it more of a science. Yeah.
Well, I think that I think.
All right, okay. CNN.
Well, back to our top story, the blizzard. Every time we see a storm like this lately, the first question to pop into a lot of people's minds is whether or not global warming is to blame.
I don't. That's
exactly right. I mean,
no, that's not.
There's snow.
I think. Do I have my long underwear?
Let me tell you the truth, though. The left, Al Gore, all of these people have done such a good job implanting this crap in people's heads that it really is. Even if you don't believe in man-made global warming, which I do not, I still think I see snow and I say some broad on CNN is going to blame this on global warming.
Broad, really used broad.
Yeah, I use broad because I think it's appropriate.
You can use dame.
You know, it used to be a compliment, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember which politician that was.
Dame.
No, I couldn't.
Dem dames.
And what you're supposed to do,
is
let me say it, and then say something worse, so I look good.
Okay.
Anyway, she continued.
Bitches be crazy.
I'll talk to Bill Nye, the science guy, about devastating storms and climate change on the other side.
We're going.
Well, we want to bring in our science guy, Bill Nye, and, talk about something else that's falling from the sky. And that is an asteroid. What's coming our way? Is this an effect of perhaps global warming, or is this just some meteoric occasion?
Well, actually, something going on outside of our atmosphere is, in fact, an effect of global warming.
I think it could be.
No, I don't think it could be.
I think it's a magnetic effect.
Because of global warming?
Yeah, I think because what happens is it warms the air, and hot air rises, and it creates a vacuum. And so as that hot air is rising into space, it creates a suction. And that suction then brings all of those asteroids towards Earth. And I'm a geologist, so you have to believe
right. But we have satellites that are orbiting.
I did not know that.
They're actually still orbiting, and it turns out that global warming.
I wasn't aware of that.
Global warming hasn't yet caused them to fall from the sky.
I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah, I know. You learn things every day with me.
Kind of
you learn something every day with me.
That shoots a hole in my
I mean, she asked Bill Nye, the science guy, who is the authority on everything science. I saw him drive a car covered in real grass one time. He grew grass on a car, and he drove it down the road. Bill Nye, the science guy. Bill. It was a mechanical engineer. But, I mean, she was serious in asking if this asteroid got so close to Earth, which, by the way, I think Friday it's going to pass by. We're not in any danger yet, but don't worry about it. And also you will never have to worry about asteroids because NASA, under the Obama administration, has been turned into an outreach program for young Muslim scientists. So you'll know that they'll be on the case of asteroids hitting the Earth while they're trying to get Muslims to like us.
Is it just me?
But luckily, Iran sent a monkey into space, so we could give him a slingshot or something, send a monkey up there, and he'll deflect the asteroid, and we'll be good. I'm not worried about it.
The North Koreans then set up a nuke up there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, North Korea. We should surrender to them.
I think we should surrender. They're obviously too powerful. All right, well, I don't know that the asteroid has anything to do with global warming or
it can't.
Vice versa.
It can't. Are you serious saying you don't know?
Yeah, of course I am. All right, anyways, speaking of...
Your sarcasm's lost on me.
I know it. And I'm not very good at it. I'm like Sheldon. So we're talking about this drone strike, because this Christopher Dorner now is a domestic terrorist, as any person can be deemed by the emperor in charge.
Why don't we send a drone up to get rid of this asteroid?
That's not a bad idea. Well, he hasn't really... Well, we could, because... Okay.
I'm calling the president right now.
I just like some of the... in the Los Angeles Police Department didn't overreact at all. The last few days.
Well, I don't know if that's exactly true,
because it's not like they're out shooting civilians.
It would. I mean, now we will give them this. They saw several people who matched the description of Christopher Dorner to a T.
Yeah,
there were absolutely no differences.
The people they shot at.
Yeah, they completely matched his description.
The 80-year-old Hispanic woman and her daughter.
Yeah, he's like a 6'5" black guy,
and the skinny white guy.
He's like 400-pound black guy.
Oh, I could see how they mistake. Oh,
also,
yeah.
He was driving a blue truck or something. There
it was completely
white or
different.
Something. Also,
color.
they rammed in the guy they shot at.
Yeah, they rammed him and stopped him already once.
His truck, because his truck apparently matched the description.
Yeah.
This was after Dorner had already torched his truck.
Right, so they didn't know. They're shooting. I love some of the memes that are going around the internet where it has the Los Angeles police chief saying, "Dorner, turn yourself in or we'll keep shooting civilians."
Yeah, well...
Apparently it worked.
That's a good point.
We
thought the LAPD didn't know what they were doing.
We don't know if
I don't know where he is. Yeah. He wrote like a 30-page manifesto.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we should back up.
Manifesto.
We should back up.
I've heard that term before. Go ahead.
Yeah, the communists had one.
Yeah, and so did the Unabomber.
Ooh, see? Now you're getting to my point here. You're getting exactly to my point here.
You have no point.
He wrote this like 30-page manifesto calling out all of these people who he hated or loved. He was going to kill 20 cops or whatever. Right. He had people like Charlie Sheen.
Apparently vicariously, because he was just going to let former officer or his comrades do it for him. So
he was fired from the LAPD. Wrote this manifesto of all the police he was going to shoot, and he wow, sorry. He named people by name, like Charlie Sheen. He gave him mad props. I mean, he loved him. Did you hear Charlie Sheen came out and responded?
What did he say?
He said, Christopher, call me. We'll
talk.
We'll talk about how to get out of this, And I think he kind of meant it, and Charlie Sheen's a little crazy too, but I like the guy. But he's naming all these liberal people and liberal ideals and anti-gun and ban assault weapons and all of this stuff. And what's happening? We have Facebook pages, Twitter accounts, all these things popping up in support of him. We have the ones that we're all Christopher Dorner,
right?
And this country has such a racist past that you're getting what you asked for, and Americans' chickens are coming home to roost, and all this crap.
And if one man can terrorize the whole Los Angeles Police Department, imagine a revolution. What they would do, and I don't know. But.
Well, actually, that one I agree with. I mean, can you imagine if one person with a gun commits, like this guy in Tennessee, carrying the AR-15? If he had been in Los Angeles, he wouldn't have just been arrested. He probably would have. Yeah, he probably would have been shot and killed. But I have a bit more to say about him. We are headed to a break here pretty quick. Don't forget to check out our website, www.atoddshow.com. Click on the Audible ad and sign up for a free 30-day trial of Audible and get a free audiobook download. Also, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/atoddshow. We will be right back.
Hey, Nate,
Yeah, Brian?
you like candy, don't you?
Oh, I love candy.
Well, then you're going to love this site I found. It's Old Time Candy, and they have the kind of candy you ate as a kid.
Oh, really? That's really cool.
Yes, Nate, it is cool. It's the bee's knees and the cat's pajamas. They have candies from the 1920s right up to now. And if you can't decide what you want, you can order various size decade boxes. They have Slow Pokes, Black Cows, Wax Lips, Root Beer Barrels, Fruit Stripe Gum, Atomic Fireballs, and the politically incorrect bubblegum cigarettes. They have regional candies you can only get in certain parts of the country, like the Goo Goo Clusters. And they have old-fashioned toys and so much more. If you want a trip to the past, click on the banner on our webpage at www.atoddshow.com. You won't be disappointed.
Real radio for real Americans.
Red State Talk Radio.
Hey, Brian, you like beer.
I do.
And liquor, too.
Oh, I enjoy a wee bit.
And I've definitely seen you drink a glass of wine or two.
Yes? Why are you asking me all this?
Well, I found an excellent online source for all kinds of spirits. It's called Wine Globe. They have a fantastic selection of wines, beers, and liquors, from moderate price selections up to high-end and hard-to-find brands. So, if you're interested in ordering your favorite drink or exotic spirits, they're all located at your fingertips. All you have to do is head over to www.atoddshow.com, click on the Wine Globe banner, and start your search today.
The voice of American conservatism. WRS Digital, Red State Talk Radio.
And we're back.
Yes, we are. Make sure you check out our new sponsors over there. They are great. I'm going to probably spend a lot of money at that candy store.
And I don't drink much.
Right.
But like I couldn't say it with a straight. I might check out the wine.
I think the listeners probably have noticed that every show we've ever done has been broadcast from the back room of a pub.
Yeah, and that's
we come for the food. We come for the food.
It's coincidental. They have great curly fries.
Every one of
Morocco.
them in Morocco. Morocco curly fries. Everybody's heard of that.
They're not called French fries there. Morocco.
No, they're
fries.
called curly fries.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say about Christopher Dorner's manifesto, it's this whole liberal ideology crap, and he's being put up on a pedestal saying, you get what you ask for, you get what you deserve type of thing, much like the Unabomber, who was a fallen angel. He was a liberal. He couldn't have possibly done this without, all of the hate speech coming from the right and these sort of things. We had Gabrielle Giffords, when she was shot, they blamed that on Sarah Palin. Because she put crosshairs on the map, which is normal in politics. So it's just crazy to me. But what are people thinking when they come out in support for this sort of thing? And they're thinking because he's black and he killed some L.A. police officers that it's okay and it's justified because the LAPD does have a long history of corruption. But that doesn't at all excuse any of this. He's murdering innocent people.
Yeah, I know.
And but having innocent people shot at by the police because they're so damn incompetent.
Yeah. And then the right is on his side in the sense that the federal government comes out and declares him a domestic terrorist, and that opens him up for drone strikes and killing him without a trial. I mean, my God, they were trying to shoot him.
I don't think anybody on the right is on his side. And
well,
I
not
don't
in
think
that
that's
regard.
Really what you meant.
No.
But
what I mean, tell me
it
what I
doesn't
meant.
matter how bad he is. You still have to react to him properly. You can't just throw away laws, shoot at innocent people, attack people with drones on U.S. soil.
He is a U.S. citizen. He has certain rights. He has due process.
This drone thing,
and I think that's what I meant.
This drone thing is really scaring me.
Yeah,
it really is, Brian. I mean, it's
no, you're not alone.
I thought and I don't know. It's not over yet. There's this.
I suspect
They
he's
still
done.
might. They still. He's made it this far.
And yet they still have roadblocks and checking every car and stuff in the
Well, of course
30-mile area.
Of course they do. But
Yeah.
but they planned on using drones for surveillance, and possibly they didn't rule out using it to actually perform a lethal strike on him.
Right.
And he's a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil.
Right.
Something doesn't line up there for me.
It's not right. It's becoming 1984.
Yeah, those visionaries. I mean, those sorts of people knew somehow. They predicted it. I mean, almost by accident, but it still that stuff is happening.
And they want to take our guns away, and that leads us into this idiot police chief in Emeryville, California. Now, this is a town of 8,000 people. I mean,
Huge town.
and I
Huge town.
I always judge a police officer, especially the chiefs and sheriffs, by how many stars they have on their shoulders.
The more stars, the better.
The more stars, the more of a douchebag they are.
Okay.
Anybody that has 4 or 5 stars on their uniform as a police chief, and especially a small town, is ridiculous. I mean, the U.S. military has very few they have no 5-star generals, very few 4-star generals.
Well, they did, right?
And-
And then they demonized them and kicked them out of there. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're referring back to Obama firing all of the. Okay, so this guy is a complete idiot, and I want to play the whole soundbite, and I'll let you guys decide what kind of guy he is. But not only is he a moron and not very articulate, but he contradicts himself with every sentence.
He does.
My name is Ken James. I'm the Chief of Police of the Emeryville Police Department. I also serve as the California Police Chiefs Association's Firearms Committee Chairman. As an association, we have long held a leadership role in reasonable legislation and regulations on firearms. In 1995, our membership took the bold stance and to go after gun violence, and they issued a position paper. We are currently in the process of updating that paper, but the principles in that paper will not change. We deal with gun violence, and our officers deal with gun violence on a daily basis. As Chief Magnus said, 1.5 guns a day his officers are encountering. When we encounter that gun, that is a high-stress,
1.5
high
a day.
intensity situation for us.
I see more
And it
guns
takes it
walking
out
through
of
my
us.
living room.
It scares us, to say a better way. And reasonable laws, and the laws that are being proposed this year are very reasonable to the
Right.
regulation of these firearms.
California.
And it will help our officers on the street.
No, it won't.
One issue that always boggles my mind is that the idea
many
that
other
a
issues.
gun is a defensive weapon. That is a myth. A gun is not a defensive weapon.
Really?
A gun is an offensive weapon used to intimidate and used to show power.
Right, like the
Police
police.
officers do not carry a gun as a defensive weapon.
Really?
To defend themselves or their other officers.
This
They
is a chief
carry
of
a gun
police
to be
people.
able to do their job in a safe and effective manner.
Without a defensive
and
tool?
face any oppositions that we may come upon. If it was a defensive measure, why did we lose 55 officers nationwide last year to gun violence? And unfortunately, in just the 2 months of this year so far, we've lost 2 officers to gun violence in the state of California alone.
This is the greatest.
We deal with
soundbite.
gun violence on a daily basis. We are asking and have been asking for reasonable regulations, not that are going to impact the legal gun owner. We're asking for reasonable regulations that will help us keep our communities and our officers safe. Thank you.
You got that from The Onion, right?
No, that's a real soundbite. I'm sorry. This guy is a complete moron. I'm going to
Wow.
say it. I mean, anybody that comes out and says a firearm is not a defensive tool is an idiot. And then in the same breath say it's there to intimidate, in that the police use it for that
Well,
purpose,
I
apparently.
mean, and we've heard
because
of-
they don't use it for defense.
We've heard of several departments going to like all black uniforms and black squad cars and things for intimidation.
I understand.
And they carry black guns for intimidation. So maybe that's what he thinks police are for intimidating people into following the law.
I don't know, but this guy, his medications are
Complete
off or something.
Complete moron.
Really? I mean, it really is.
1.5 guns a day.
Wow.
And he didn't even say that they were bad people with guns, just 1.5 guns a day. Probably because he lives in the middle of nowhere and people have guns there, and they encounter 1.5 guns a day. Now that half a gun...
Was that just his department, or was that statewide?
I thought that was his department.
Well, I don't believe that he comes across that many guns. I mean, that's smaller than the town I live in. I live in
Yeah, I know.
Come
Way
on.
back in the States, but
yeah.
I mean, the half a gun that he sees a day would scare me.
Well, it depends on which half it was.
That's true.
If
That
it
is
was
true.
the barrel half, man, you're crapping
That's
your
scary.
pants.
That's scary because there's no trigger
But
to
if it's
stop it from
if
shooting.
it's the other end, not so much.
Yeah, I don't know.
This guy's an idiot.
He's not the only idiot that we have around, though.
No, we have a great, powerful leader that's an idiot.
Ah, yeah, and ex-Speaker of the House.
Oh, yeah. She's
Aye.
And a beauty queen.
Beautiful.
But they tell, not Hollywood, but the evidence says that in Japan, for example, they have the most violent games than the rest and the lowest mortality from guns. I don't know what the explanation is for that, except they may have good gun laws.
Yeah. Japan.
Come on, say it.
Japan has the most violent video games, which might be true because they make all the good ones before they send them over here.
Yeah.
Because that's what Japan does, is makes video games.
Well, they do other things.
They
but-
have the lowest violent crime rate, or whatever the hell she said,
By
with
guns.
firearms.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know why.
Uh-huh.
Could it be communism and socialism and tyranny and the fact of they have no guns over there?
I don't
Could
think
that
it's
be?
that. I don't think they have a gun culture. So I just don't think they have a lot of guns anyways.
I'm pretty sure they don't have many guns.
If she would, yeah, I know, but if she would compare, how many people are killed with samurai swords.
Well, there's a lot of stabbings in Japan.
Yes, there
A
are.
lot of stabbings in Japan.
And a lot of suicide.
They have a
and everything
knife
else.
culture in Japan.
Yeah.
Their Third Amendment. Thou shalt have knives.
Thou shalt have knives, especially the samurai.
She wasn't done.
Nope.
But I think that you took one piece of it. We're talking about no further sales of assault weapons. What is the justification for an assault weapon?
I don't know.
No further sales of those. No further
Do I have
sales
to justify
of the increased
To her.
capacity, 30 rounds in a gun. We're talking about background checks, which is very popular even among gun owners and hunters. We avow the First Amendment.
What?
We avow the First Amendment?
Hang on. Let's listen to that again closely.
We avow the First Amendment. We
First.
stand with that and say that people have a right to have a gun to protect themselves.
Have you read the First Amendment?
I have.
I'm glad we have that, so I'm allowed to have a gun to protect myself.
We can read it. I mean, we have.
Oh
we
yeah,
have it.
let's do that. I mean, we could probably read
It's
it.
really long
It's in here
and boring.
somewhere,
Nobody
I would
needs the
think,
First
right?
Amendment.
Oh, I don't know. How do you use a constitution?
I don't know.
I don't even know how to do this.
Table of contents, article.
Yeah, article. What article is it?
I don't know. Maybe we should get another reference book.
Yeah, that's tough. No, but I'm pretty sure the First Amendment doesn't say a
about guns.
whole lot about guns. But I don't know.
But she's
In their homes, in their jobs, wherever, and that they, in their workplace, and that they, for recreation, for hunting, and the rest. So we're not questioning their right to do that.
Yeah, she was on Chris Wallace, which kind of surprised me on Fox News. But so she doesn't know why they don't have a lot of shootings in Japan, possibly because they don't have many guns in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And they avow the First Amendment.
That's good.
Which allows us to have a gun to defend ourselves.
I think all our amendments are pretty good.
And how do you justify? How, Brian, do you justify an assault weapon?
Well, it's hard because first I got to get permission from my wife to be able to buy the assault rifle. So I have to justify it to her.
First, you have to define to her what an assault weapon is.
No, I don't.
And that's hard. You don't? You
No,
just assault weapon. She said whatever.
She knows what it is.
Yeah. I don't get it. I really don't get it. These people know nothing about guns, and all they want to do is regulate guns. And really what they want to do is control people. They don't want to actually regulate guns. They know they need to get the guns out of the way to be able to control people, to be able to murder people.
Right. And not only do they want to control guns for citizens, but apparently they want to control guns from the Marines who paraded in the inaugural parade when apparently all of their weapons had their bolts taken out?
Their bolts were missing, yeah. Only police officers and military should have guns, except the military when the president's near them.
Now,
or Leon Panetta, and we'll talk about that.
Well, we'll get that in a second because I have some actual quotes there from the sergeant that was there. But during this inauguration, the Marines were marching with, basically clubs, and so we did some checking, and I guess this is not common because even the parade that took place in 2009 for his first one, the sailors all had working firearms.
So this whether they were loaded or not, new. I'm not sure. But
they were not loaded.
At least they were operable, or they appeared operable.
Yeah, it wasn't so obvious.
They didn't have a big gaping hole in the top of them because the whole bolt was missing.
Yeah, and so Mr. Panetta's trip to the Middle East.
Leon Panetta, Defense Secretary Panetta.
So apparently he was a little nervous because the Marines and other troops there had, M4 automatic rifles.
Yeah, and how do you justify an assault weapon?
Some M16s.
I mean, really, how do you justify an assault weapon? They may have committed an act of workplace violence with those guns while they were there at their camp.
So apparently somebody with the Defense Secretary's office asked the commanding officer if they could just take those guns and put them outside the tent and, maybe just...
Yeah, and I saw pictures
We don't want anybody armed in there when we have the friggin' leader of the, the Defense Department in there because, it would be bad.
Yeah, I saw pictures of the, the piles of their guns outside the tent, and they're all inside unarmed. Hopefully nobody attacks the camp while they're there. I mean, that could happen. They weren't in the safest area in the world, Texas. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
There's a bigger point here, and I always say gun control gun registration leads to gun confiscation, leads to termination of people who disagree with them. And I just want to point out that our president and his administration, people he associates with, they have a history of doing things like that. He hasn't won a single election on merit, even back when he was a senator. His game plan is to eliminate the competition. His plan is to demonize whoever's running against him. Even in the primaries, he did it to Hillary Clinton in the presidential primary for the 2008 election. His game plan is to take out anybody that opposes him. Just lie and lie and lie and lie and lie until people believe it and make them seem like bad people. Take them out of the equation. It's not compete with them fairly. It's not beat them with my ideas. It's not let's go, head-to-head on policy. It's eliminate them. I don't want the competition. I can't handle the competition. That's what he did when he was a senator running for office. That's what he did in the last election. That's what he did with Romney. I mean, look at all the lies about Romney. He had the ads saying that, Romney, while he was at Bain Capital, gave this guy's wife cancer and she died because he took away her health care. Those are the sort of things his PACs were running, and he lied repeatedly about Romney. And so you just need to keep in mind that taking away guns so you can control people and eventually eliminate people who dissent is not that far off from what this president has been doing.
No, we've seen this all before several times throughout the last 150 years. We can add that I guess the Pope is resigning. I just pulled that out of nowhere.
Yeah, I know something you're big on.
That hasn't happened in 600 years.
600 years, like the 1400s was the last time it happened. And it can happen. It's completely within the rules. I mean, usually the Pope stay there until they die. But,
right.
They are allowed to resign.
Yes, they are.
It's a bit of a different world now with all the travel. I mean, they used to sit, in the Vatican and read and research and learn and come out with their proclamations whenever. But now they're expected to get on airplanes and fly places and get in their little Pope mobile, which I want one. It's bulletproof with a little go-kart.
The Vatican is a sovereign nation, and the Pope is essentially the king of that nation and the leader of the Catholic Church, the World Catholic Church. And there's 1.2 billion Catholics worldwide.
Yeah,
25% of the people in the United States are Catholic. So that's kind of big news as far as that goes. We wanted to get into a couple other things. I think we're going to have to save it for next week because we are running down.
We will. The State of the Union is tonight. We got about 5 minutes left.
Go ahead and talk about that.
And it's not going to be a surprise to anybody. We're probably going to see talk about gun control. He's going to parade.
Ted Nugent's going to be there.
Ted Nugent's going to be there, which is great because that will combat the people that like Michelle invited, which were people who were victims of gun violence.
Yeah, I know. Don't have anybody that was saved.
Children who got spanked on the butt with a 30-round magazine, things like that. They're going to be there. We're going to hear him talking about immigration for sure, I think. And there was this interesting thing because on Chris Matthews, I heard some Democrats talking about, can Obama get up there and talk about immigration without doing exactly what I just got done talking about and trying to destroy Marco Rubio, who is the Republicans' sort of voice of reason on immigration, who is not a Tea Partier, but for some reason all you Tea Party people out there want to call him a Tea Partier. He's never really said he is part of the Tea Party. From what I've heard, you want to be careful with him. I mean, he's great in most of what he does, but he shows some signs that are a little scary, maybe not quite in line with what the Tea Party in general stands for. I'm just a little tip. But I think gun control, immigration, we're going to complain about the sequester and how the GOP hasn't passed a budget in 4 years, even though that's the Democrats' fault and Harry Reid. And the president's budgets have never gotten any votes to speak about or been submitted on time ever. But so he'll talk about that. But I think gun control is going to be the big one. They're going to parade people around. I heard Ted Nugent sitting pretty much right in front of the president, so that should be good. Yeah, It'll be funny. I heard him this morning on radio, and he said luckily he had some clean camo to wear. He doesn't want to wear a tie, but he said Mrs. Nugent thinks he should probably wear a suit and tie, so we'll see.
That'll be interesting.
I doubt he'll wear a tie. I really do, but I think he'll have a suit on.
You think so?
It's a pool report, so I don't think that any of the stations will necessarily show him.
Oh,
I don't think we'll see him.
I think you will.
If Fox News
will show him.
It's a pool report, so they're all pulling from the same cameras.
Oh, I see.
So I don't think they will, and it's not controlled by Fox. That's
Well,
that was really the only saving grace there.
He could have a sports jacket on of camo.
He might. I don't know if he should. I really hope. I'm sure he's already picked out his costume. Costume. Well, he talked about dressing up.
Sounds like his wife picked it out for him.
He talked about dressing up like a lion, but like an actual lion because he has one in his den.
An actual lion?
Well, a dead one, stuffed. Yeah. But
who doesn't?
I know. I'm seeing your lion right here in the back room of the horse.
That's
thing,
that's my yellow Labrador.
Hey, Sonny.
Yeah, he's a sweetie.
Oh boy! Now you lost me.
The State of the Union.
What I hope he does. I hope he does wear a suit and tie. I hope he dresses really nice. I hope he doesn't scream and yell at the president too much.
He's not going to do that.
I don't know that I could go to. I don't know that I could go to the State of the Union and not yell at the guy. But what I'm saying,
he will. I mean, he'll.
Ted
be fine.
Nugent showing up in a suit and tie, being professional, being respectful, which is the opposite of what the left portrays him as.
What they expect.
If they show him on TV, that will be a great thing for gun rights in general. And I mentioned I've never been a huge fan of Ted Nugent. I'm not a huge fan of guitar solos as much as he does, and some of his gun rights, his gun ideas,
his positions are a little funny.
Aren't really in line with mine. But lately, he's been doing a great job, sort of being the celebrity face of gun rights. I think he's been doing a good job, and I am happy about that. So I'm not saying that I'm fully supporting all of his ideas, but he's starting to pull me back in. And I hope it's not a slippery slope like most other things in politics, but I think Ted Nugent's been doing pretty decent. So, you have any final thoughts? We have 30 seconds.
I have no final thoughts. I am the Hypnotoad. No, I don't have anything else to say.
All right. Well,
I would love to talk about the things, but we got next week, right?
Yep, we do. I think we're wrapping up. I think the show was fun, and make sure to check us out on redstatetalkradio.com starting tomorrow. We'll still be live Tuesdays at 7:30.
Same spot, same time.
AtOddsShow.com, Facebook.com/AtOddsShow.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening to At Odds.